Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. We completed the first canto as of yesterday, so we'll start the second canto. Sundarachal Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, okay, Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Harinam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhakteshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Canto 2, Chapter 1, the first step in God realization. Invocation. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Text 1. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, My dear King, your question is glorious because it is very beneficial to all kinds of people. Answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, and it is approved by all transcendentalists. 2. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society, O Emperor. The lifetime of such an envious householder is passed at night, either in the sleeping or in the sex indulgence, and in the daytime, either in making money or maintaining family members. 4. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldier like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. 5. O descendant of King Bharata, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear about, glorify, and also remember the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul, the controller, and the savior from all miseries. 6. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Text 7. O King Parikshit, namely the topmost transcendentalists who are above the regulative principles and restrictions, take pleasure in describing the glories of the Lord. Text 8. At the end of Dwapar Yuga, I studied this great supplement of Vedic literature named Srimad Bhagavatam, which is equal to all the Vedas, from my father, Srila Dvaipayana Vyasa Deva. Text 9. O saintly king, I was certainly situated perfectly in transcendence, yet I was still attracted by the delineation of the pastimes of the Lord, who is described by enlightened verses. Text 10. That very Srimad Bhagavatam I shall recite before you because you are the most sincere devotee of Lord Krishna, one who gives full attention and respect to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, achieves unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord, the giver of salvation. Text 11. O King, constant chanting of the holy names of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by the dint of transcendental knowledge. Well, what is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted in experience by the years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest. Text 13. The saintly king Khatvanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would be only a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the supreme safety, the personality of Godhead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, Harinam Kirtan Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can take over, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna devotees, we are starting from Canto 10, Canto 2. We have recently finished the Canto 1. In the Canto 2, the first invocation prayers is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is how we start Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srila Sukdev Goswami is going to speak in the next verse. And before that, this is the invocation prayer. So we are we're offering our respectful obeisances to Lord Vasudeva, the Lord. So in the next verse, this is the verse when Maharaj Parikshit inquired, he tells the thing, he got curses, and he was sitting at the bank of Ganges, and then Sukdev Goswami arrives, as we have read from the last chapter. So then Sukdev Goswami is going to speak. So the questions Srila Parikshit Maharaj has asked, is by hearing that particular question, Sukdev Goswami was very pleased, and he glorifies that your question itself is so glorious that it can benefit all kind of people. And answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing. So that question and the answer to that question only should be heard and is approved by all transcendentalists. So Parikshit Maharaj, Sukdev Goswami is glorifying the questions, and Srila Prabhupada gives very, very nice purport to this particular text. And let me read a little bit. So Srila Prabhupada tells that because the question is so glorious, and the answer to that particular question is inquiring about the purpose of life, what to do when a person is going to die. So Srila Prabhupada writes that topics of Lord Krishna are very auspicious. So discussing this topic are so auspicious that it purifies the speaker, it purifies the hearer and the inquirer. Everybody is purified, and it is being compared as the Ganges, the water of the Ganges. And wherever the mother Ganges go, that particular land, that particular place, everything is purified. Similarly, Krishna Katha, or these conversation, these discussion or topics of Krishna are so pure that they can be spoken anywhere Doesn't matter where is the place, who is the hearer, who is the inquirer, who is the speaker. Wherever this particular katha, this particular discussion will take place, everything will be purified. I remember one example from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I believe the kid who was not able to stop his tongue. His tongue was so addicted in chanting Krishna's name that when he's going to do his regular duties, he was not able to control his tongue, and he was holding his tongue. That holy name, I cannot do at this particular place. But then he was told that this holy name can be chanted anywhere, anywhere in any situation. So that is the most beautiful part of bhakti. So in this, another thing is, Srila Prabhupada also tells about why it is so pure, because it's, as Krishna also said in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yobati Tatvata Tatvadehi Punarjanme Eti Mameti Soarjuna. That Krishna's appearance, Krishna's disappearance, and all his activities are so wonderful, so amazing that it purifies our heart itself. It purifies our chitta, our man, which is a subject matter of so many different matters that we will discuss in the next verse. In the next verse, Sukadeva Goswami is telling the condition of the people who are materially engrossed, and they have no interest for bhakti, no interest for Krishna. So Sukadeva Goswami is giving that direction. Okay, you have inquired this particular question, but there are kind of people who are completely blinded by this material illusion and the subject matter, and they don't have any interest in this. And then Srila Prabhupada tells the comparison of Grihastha and Grahamedi. Who is Grihastha and who is Grahamedi? So the word Medhi indicates jealousy of others. And basically, these Grahamedis are interested only in family affairs and envious of others. That's the main characteristics for them. And very important, Srila Prabhupada writes that there are so many subject matters for hearing. Our ear, our tongue, our nose, all our senses are always, engaged into different thoughts, activities, contemplation. Something is always going on. So Srila Prabhupada writes that there are so many matters for hearing, political matter. Who is winning, who is losing, who is occupying that post, who is not occupying, so much rat race, so much competition. They are ready to kill anyone and everyone just to get some post or affiliation. So political, scientific, there are so many thousands of books, thousands of literature, and on the name of so-called scientific advancement, so much bogus research has been going on, and so much resources has been wasted actually. So all the scientific community and social, all this Twitter, Facebook, so much media, so much influence on social life, social media, so much has been discussed about or heard about or talked about. Then economic development, everybody is crazy about economic development. Everybody want, nice luxuries to comfort their own body, but they don't think about comforting their own soul or the Atma Tattva. And so on. So Srila Prabhupada writes, so on. Like he also says, like there are so many isms, right? Everybody is so caught up in a different ism. Similarly, like this, political, scientific, social, economic, and so on. But because they don't have any knowledge, they don't see the imminent death which is coming on each one of us. Because everyone knows that, they also know that their great-grandfather, their grandfather, they have died. But they don't realize the fact that I'm also going to die. I'm also going to die one day. But that poor fund of knowledge, they don't see that imminent death is coming in. And this Kala Chakra is moving. The death is coming. It's going to kill us. For sure. There is no doubt about it. Everybody has been killed. This material nature will kill all of us time to time. But still we're engaged in our own set of activities and having no interest or no inclination about the prime subject matter of hearing. So Srila Prabhupada tells in this particular context the difference between the grahastha and grahamedi. Then in the end, Srila Prabhupada tells, this is the process. The process of going back home, back to Godhead, is to hear. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, right? The first process is to hear. Is to hear about the Supreme Lord, His name, His form, His attributes, His pastime, His paraphernalia, and variety-gatedness. So this is the main aspect. And foolish people don't know this. They just want to hear everything temporary and how to utilize. And they do not know how to utilize this propensity of hearing for the ultimate good. In the next verse, text number 3, there is also another thing I forgot to mention, because Sukdev Goswami was so much feeling, the speaker was feeling so much happy hearing the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. He forgot to do his Mangalacharan, and then he did after 3 chapters. So that was, the speaker was so happy just by hearing the questions. And then Srila Sukdev Goswami is telling, he told about the people who are completely mentally engrossed. And then what do they do? What do they do? Okay, he told about they're not interested about hearing of the prime subject matter, but what they're doing? So he's telling their night is busy in sleeping or sex intelligence, and their daytime is thinking how to make money and how to maintain their family member, how to comfort them, and how to provide all the resources to them. So this is the entire human civilization has been working upon. So Srila Prabhupada writes that everybody is just doing the same thing, earning money in the day and sex indulgence and sleeping in the night. That is all the maintenance of human civilization. And this is condemned by the Bhagavad school. So then Srila Prabhupada also writes, there are categories of people: karmis, jnani, yogi, and devotee. So the karmis are the people who are devoid of Atma Tattva knowledge, the knowledge of Atma, the knowledge of the soul. Basically, they are the killer of the soul. They're killing their own soul. So then Srila Prabhupada tells the importance of human life, that this particular human life is not meant for doing hard labor for economic development or meant for sex indulgence like dogs and hogs. It's meant for making a solution to the problems of material life and miseries and inquire. So karmi are wasting their life in accumulating money and just utilizing their own senses for the temporary sense gratification. So this is the foolish way of living the life. In text 4, again, Sukdev Goswami is continuing in the same context, that people who are devoid of this knowledge of Atma Tattva, they don't inquire, they don't think the problem of life. They don't think, where I have come from, where I'm gonna go, why I'm living this material world, why the death is happening, why my body is getting old, why my hair is becoming white, why my senses capacities are getting slowly, going. But then I don't inquire, why this sun, where this moon is coming from. So all these inquiries, they don't inquire. They are too busy in just family maintenance or earning money or enjoying their senses. So again, Sukdev Goswami tells that they are too attached to the soldiers, fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife. So that is the characteristics. They are busy into these things. Or some people are more, they may be society, or state or a country. But that's all. And they don't see the inevitable destruction. And again, Srila Prabhupada is focusing that this world is called world of death. So nice word terminology, world of death. This material is dukkha, dukkha is 7.14, right? No, the Maya, the Maya verse, this Dukhalya Shashvatam, this particular world, it's a world of death, full of miseries. And then Sri Prabhupada tells, even from being an ant or being, human or being in a Brahma, who's living from thousands of millions of years, so everybody is gonna die. Everybody is struggling for existence. And there is all sorts of fight with the material nature, and the death is imposed upon all. Nobody can be saved from the death. But people are attached to family, society, country, etc., etc. But nobody can win this invincible material nature. We are trying to modify, improve, or play around with material nature to make life comfortable. But it's been imposed upon us, and we cannot do anything with the aid of our bodily strength, children, wife, relative, etc., etc. And we have some experience in this matter, because of our past experience and our predecessors, but we don't see all that. And we all are engaged into this great struggle of maintaining and everything. In the last paragraph of this verse, Srila Prabhupada writes very nice line. The whole materialistic advancement of human civilization, I'll repeat again. The whole materialistic advancement of human civilization is like the decoration of a dead body. Just think, I'm just amazed to see this analogy. The body is dead. Nobody want to touch it, right? Nobody want to go too close to that body itself because of fear, because of so much is happening, right? The body is getting decayed every moment. But this whole civilization, we are decorating the dead body. So similarly, without Krishna consciousness in our life, we are just nesting this human form of life, decorating the dead body. And everyone is a dead body, flapping only for a few days. So an ant is living for a few days, an animal is living for a few days, a human is living for a few days. Everybody is flapping. And all the energy of human life is being wasted in the decoration, this dead body, because of, so much comfort, this and that, and the whole time is wasted in that. So people, those who are devoid of knowledge of this Atma Tattva are misguided. So, and those who are devotees of the Lord and have perfect relation to Transcendental are not bewildered. So this is about the people. In the text 5, then he's telling, O descendants of King Bharata, Sukadeva Goswami is addressing to Parikshit Maharaj, that people who desire to flee from these miseries, so he condemned the Grahamedi, he condemned the people who are engaged into materialistic, propensities of civilization. And he told them what is their characteristics. And now he tells what is the medicine, what is the therapy to cure them. So he tells those people who want to flee from all this misery, what should they do? They must hear about and glorify and also remember the personality of Godhead. So hearing, glorifying, and contemplation or remembrance. So this is what is being told by Sri Sukadeva Goswami, who is a super soul, controller, and savior. This is a very famous verse. So, Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagwan Ishwaro Hari Shotyave Kritivesya Smarte Vechastabhyam. So this is very important. So in this particular verse, the medicine is being given to the people who are engaged into material life, that we should always hear, always chant, glorify the Lord's activity, his pastime, chant his name, and always remember him. Antanarayana Smriti. This has to be there. We need to remember Lord Narayan. We need to remember Lord Krishna. Then now in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is telling about the foolish materialistic men are wasting their life. So many economic life, sex life, this and that, and they have been entangled into 8.4 millions of species, and different species is doing the same thing. Therefore, if one desires freedom from this cycle or this enjoying, one should not do anything. One should either good or bad on his account. But must execute everything on behalf of the Supreme Lord, the ultimate proprietor of everything. So another line, Srila Prabhupada writes that therefore one should first of all hear about the Lord. So the first process is hearing. So Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing there. When one has perfectly and scrutinizingly heard, so 2 words. Hearing also has to be done like this, perfectly and scrutinizingly. So we need to hear nicely. And also Sukadeva Goswami also tells in the first verse, not first, I think he forgot where it is. Anyway, I'll come back. So we need to hear like this. And then he tells that we must glorify his acts and deeds. And this is how it will be possible to remember the Lord. And this particular process of hearing and glorifying is glorified everywhere, and Lord is available to everyone. And this is the process of ultimate success, ultimate success. And then Srila Prabhupada again tells about different, fruity worker, mystic yogi, and unalloyed devotees. But this particular process is applicable for all of them. So everybody can be fully happy in their life just by accepting this process of hearing from great authority as Srila Sukadeva Goswami. In text 6, it tells about the highest perfection of human life. So the highest perfection is achieved either by knowledge or matter state, by practicing mystic power or discharge of occupational duty, is to remember the personality of Godhead. So whoever is the person, whoever is yogi, karmi, jnani, or anyone, so the perfection of life is to remember the personality of Godhead, Antanarayana Smriti. And then he tells about the example of Sanakadi Rishi and the 9 Yogendras, and it's been performed by them. And then in text 7, he tells that Sukadeva Goswami is telling that, O King Parikshit, those who are the topmost transcendentalist, who are above the regulative principles or action, they always take pleasure in glorifying the Lord. They always have interest. And then Srila Prabhupada again quotes the 4.9 that the personality of Godhead and all his activities are divyam, janma karma chame divyam. All his activities are transcendental. And the topmost transcendentalist have that interest. They don't have any other interest. And Srila Prabhupada writes, the highest perfection of transcendental realization is to take pleasure in hearing and describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, and not into merging into impersonal Brahman existence. So this is very, very important. And there's another verse from Bhagavad Gita, I believe 10.9, Chitta mat prana bodhayantam parasparam. That all the deities of the devotees take great pleasure in hearing and sharing about the pastime of the Lord. So we should be really addicted or mad in hearing and sharing the pastime of the Lord. This is the real transcendental pleasure is realized in the glorification of the transcendental Lord, and not in the feeling of impersonal features. So Srila Prabhupada tells in the end, in text 8, now interestingly, he tells about the highest perfection, and then Sukadeva Goswami tells his own example that I have heard this Srimad Bhagavatam from my own father, Srila Vyasadeva, Dwayapayana Vyasadeva, so, which is equal to the Vedas, to all the Vedas. This is Srimad Bhagavatam is equal to all the Vedas. And he's telling that this I have not, I'm just speaking you like this. I have heard from my father, who is a great authority, who is Srila Vyasadeva. Srila Prabhupada in this verse is emphasizing on hearing from a great soul or hearing from a bona fide authority. And Srila Prabhupada tells another example of the medical books, that medical books of anatomy, physiology are available in the market, but nobody can become a qualified medical practitioner simply by reading such books. One has to be admitted to medical college and study the books under the guidance of learned professor. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada tells, our Srimad Bhagavatam is a postgraduate study of the science of Godhead, which only can be learned by studying at the feet of realized soul like Srila Vyasadeva. Although Sukadeva Goswami was a liberated soul, he was into Brahman platform, but still he has to take the lessons of Srimad Bhagavatam from his grandfather, who compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam under the instruction of his guru, Narad Muni. So very, very important that the authority is very highly recommended. We don't hear from anywhere. From a very great authority. And we cannot just, we have to take an admission into this school. Srila Prabhupada often tells that our temples are not just mere temples. Our temples are the universities. Our temples are the hospitals. In the university, people come, they study, and they educate themselves. They learn the science. And in the hospital, people are diseased. They go to hospital and get treated and get better. Similarly, the people in this world are so much materially engrossed. Once they go to temple, they are being told about the pastimes of the Lord, and the Krishna Katha is going on. And this is how, by studying the Vedas, they learn the transcendental science, and at the same time they get cured from this disease of material life. But our temples are a university or a hospital. You can learn in this way. So in text, in text 9, in text 9, then he tells his own example that I was in a transcendence or Brahma platform, but I was attracted by the delineation of pastime of the Lord, who described in the enlightened verses. So many people sometimes also tells, the Brahman realization, Brahman, Paramatman, Bhagwan realization. Many people are impersonalists, they have that realization, but not the personal feature of the Lord. So we can always tell that there is never an example. There are so many examples, people who are into this particular platform, and eventually they learned about the Lord and they practice that path, the bhakti. Like Prakashananda Saraswati was a Mayavadi, but then by the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could understand the power of bhakti. But there is never an example where a devotee has been transformed to the opposite. There is never an example, but there are so many examples of the going people from the Brahmajyoti level or the Brahman level to the great devotees, to the highest realization of the Supreme Lord. So he was attracted to the pastime of the Lord. No, this is a big purport. No, this next thing. In the next verse, therefore, I will recite that same Srimad Bhagavatam that I have heard, because you are a sincere devotee of Lord Krishna and who gives full attention. This is what I was telling, that the features of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada writes, right? Carefully and scrutinizingly, and same thing. One who gives full attention. And often Srimad Bhagavatam discussion, there were many conversation discussion. So Dev Goswami was checking that particular stuff. So we have to give full attention, full respect to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, achieving unflinching feeling of Supreme Lord. So this is a big purport. I will just, again, Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing on the need of spiritual master. The spiritual master must be satisfied with the disciple, and then this knowledge can automatically manifest before the student. There are so many people reading Bhagavad Gita, but how much their life is being changed. They are doing the same thing what they have been doing it. But once if he learns the science of Bhagavatam from a devotee of the Lord, then his life will change, like how Srila Prabhupada has changed the life of his. Therefore, very, very important to learn the spiritual science from the great devotees. We have to have an association of great devotees. That is the process. Parikshit Maharaj could learn this science by the association of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. So, therefore, association is very, very important. And in this verse, Srila Prabhupada writes on the four lines. And he tells the examples also. Like Sukadeva Goswami is the example. Parikshit Maharaj. Another example of Gautama Muni also advises Maharaj Ambrish to hear regularly Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada writes, one who is actually interested in Bhagavatam, therefore must not play with it by reading or hearing a portion from here and a portion from there. So one must follow in the footsteps of great kings like Maharaj Ambrish or Maharaj Parikshit and hear it from a bona fide representative of Sukadeva Goswami. Very, very important to hear from the representative bona fide. And then a nice verse about glorifying the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That is the only way, and it's been recommended by the great authority, doubtless and fearless way of success of all. I'm just amazed. The words, the words are so amazing, Srila Prabhupada, and the translation, doubtless. Mind is always full of doubt only. Don't trust, because always there is some doubt. Is this process will work or not? But this is the doubtless, fearless, no need to worry, no need to have any single doubt. This is the process of success of all, and which can free from all material desire. And we can be self-satisfied with this knowledge. So, more time. And then in text 12, so Goswami is telling that there is no need of long life. People want to live, many, many years. Nobody want to die. And but what is the value of that prolonged life which has been wasted? Being in this world, being a moment of full consciousness that gives one a start in searching of a supreme interest. So even if a person has a small lifespan, but his life has been, the activities has been great, or performed in remembering Lord, hearing about the Lord. That life is glorious. People, what is the use of living 100 years or 80 years, 90 years? Actually, people are suffering in that age. They are thinking that when will I die? Yeah, I heard many times, people at the age of 85, 90, they think they're just waiting for their death. Waiting. Thinking when will I die? Because this body is deteriorated, the senses are not so active, the family members are also sometimes, something yes or no kind of thing. They are thinking when I will leave this body. They don't want to live in that world. So that is there. And then in the same context, Sukadeva Goswami is telling the example of Maharaj Khatwanga, and he was informed that his life is just a moment more. And in that moment, he remembered the Lord and it freed from all material activities and took shelter of the Supreme Lord. So this is a story of Maharaj Khatwanga. So we'll stop here. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Prabhupada ki jai. Let's offer obeisance to all the devotees. Vanchakalpatara Besha Kupasantu Bhyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a nice class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so very much.
Hare Krishna.